I'd like to thank Dayquil. It was written and recorded while on like a fuck ton of it.
Okay, so now we're going to actually go to the PowerPoint presentation. Oh wait, no, we didn't. Oh, wait.
Arby, make up your minds right now.
Put it up. Okay, we're going to start up. You can put it up right now. Just push F5.
Fan panels.
The Glories of Evangelion, because battleships are manly.
Represent.
So, we're going to start off with one portion of the panel and then move into a portion that's completely different. To start with, I have here my best friend, a VCR. Because the first portion of our panel is going to be discussing things that you may never have seen or paid attention to in Ava.
Such as a VCR.
Yes. And I have a treat
Or like
for
the
you.
second half of the series.
For anyone who's hardcore enough to give a shit. This is a fan sub tape. We three here are like old fag, so we actually know what this is, and we bought this kind of shit back in the day.
Was this before IRC?
This was back when you paid $20 to buy fans.
I'll translate that. Accidental eBay purchase.
I've done that before with Lane.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
But the first thing I'm going to show you is a video
Whoops,
clip
is this bootlegged?
from episode 21. And for those of you that don't remember, episode 21 is where they like to explain a lot of shit about how Nerve came along and the origins of most of the characters, the origin of the Magi, blah, 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 and Kaji dies. But that's less important. Or is it? The Kaji
Spoilers.
death...
Spoilers.
Yeah. The Kaji death thing was the original point of contention for a lot of Eva fans. And they batted it back and forth for a couple of years. Who killed Kaji? Was it Masato? Was it Ritsuko? Was it Gendo? Was it an unnamed person? Back a couple of years ago, Anno came out and said, no, I never intended any of the named characters to kill Kaji. It was a random guy from Stile. But what most people don't know is that the original on-air version of Ava, episode 21, is completely different from any other cut you've ever seen. The only place you would have seen it was on television. Just so happens that, yes, in Japan.
No,
So
that
just
one
so
time they aired the
15 years
heavily
ago.
edited version on Toonami.
It just so happens
Happened.
that the scene in question, they completely redubbed this episode for commercial release. They did a lot of redrawing, they changed the script a little bit, and they did a lot of subtle changes so that it didn't look like Masato killed Kaji. This is the original scene from television. If you are hardcore enough, you might see the difference. If not, you probably won't notice a difference because it's all really subtle and the script is there. But for those of you that care, here it is.
存じません。
So yeah, that's the original cut of that particular scene. It's not anything particularly dramatic, but apparently ADV was significant enough to excuse the changes because people thought Masato was killing on Kaji. Hi!
A
Come
lot of
back!
people are keep checking to see if we're actually here.
No, we're actually figments of their
They don't believe that someone would actually be stupid enough to hold an Ava panel. Who does that?
This is not like the last time we ran a panel.
Yeah,
When they said, oh no, you're not 18 plus anymore, and they kept someone in their room to make sure we were being family
Now
friendly.
we are 18 plus and they're still checking. Isn't that awesome? Okay, so go ahead and go to the next slide, because what this is the section where we discuss things you never noticed or cared to know. Right up there is a picture from the end of Evangelion. You may never have noticed that there's a head vagina. That's not an accident. They did that on purpose. There's actually a lot of vaginas at the end of Ava, you just never noticed them. They showed this at cons to kids. Go to the next slide. Here's another trivia question for you. What's wrong with these tanks? These are the UN tanks that you see up in a line ready to defend against the Angel in the first episode. Is anyone nerdy enough to know what's wrong with this picture? I'll give you a hint. What color are UN vehicles painted when they're under official UN sanction?
Brown?
Yes, they are white. Holy shit, someone knew that besides me.
Hey!
No, that was one of the hard questions. You get it.
I was actually going to say, from the way that's drawn, what's wrong with the tanks is that the body of the tank extends about to the sides of the turret.
Do you want pen
what
pen
makes
or
it close
Gendo?
together?
But pen pen is so awesome.
Do you just not want to give him what he wants?
See,
Oh, I'm
see Max,
sorry.
I told you Gendo and Pen.
You were right. Next slide. These are just a couple quick things. Wow. I forgot I used that poster. Yeah, that's one of yours actually. Oh, yeah. Compliment to you. One of the trivia questions was going to be what the computers' names were, but now I can't do that because
Wow.
I'm cheating. But
Preparation.
Hey Max, they already used it for trivia this morning too.
I told them.
I remember. Yeah. Too bad. Someone could have gotten free candy. But the
Now
interesting
that's
thing
an
about the
acronym.
Magi,
You could ask what it stands for.
you mean what their associations are for?
MAGI.
I don't remember.
Yes,
I
do
don't-
I.
Does anyone remember what Magi stands for?
Preparedness.
No? Too bad.
Somebody Google it.
Mega
got a smartphone.
We don't have time for that.
intelligence.
But the interesting thing about the Magi is, if you think about it, lots of random works will have an absurd level of detail. Like you may have read Crack.com special on Scott Pilgrim Saves the World. There's a lot of absurd level of detail that directors like to work in. This is kind of one of those examples in Ava. You'll notice that, you may remember, that the three different computers are based off of three different personality traits of their maker. And they are a scientist, a woman, and a mother. And you'll also notice, if you go back and watch it again,
Join us.
that one of the computers works reliably all the time, one of them works whenever it's convenient, and one of them goes apeshit all the time. It syncs up very nicely.
I bet the one that goes apeshit is the scientist.
Yep.
Absolutely. Go ahead. This is just a random factoid that I pulled up one day while I was watching the movie. You can't really see it very well, but notice the ID number right here, NCC1701A, for any of you that are Star Trek fans.
I'd also like to point out that Riley Vincent's Mustang and Gunsmith Cats, that's her license plate number.
Thanks, Graham.
Next slide.
Welcome.
This is where we enter Bob's speciality, because Anu really likes battleships.
Okay, so here's the thing. Evangelion, the vast majority of characters share their names with World War II ships that didn't survive World War II in most cases. Okay, we have Rei Ayanami. It was originally the Ayanami as a destroyer. It was crippled by gunfire from a U.S. battleship, USS Washington, and they purposely sank it. Okay, Asuka Langley Soryu, or the new one, Shikanami, was actually, that's three ships. The USS Langley was actually the U.S.'s first aircraft carrier. It was scuttled by the U.S. due to battle damage, and unfortunately a lot of the crew later died when the ship that was taking them away from the battle got sank too. The Soryu was actually one of the aircraft carriers at Midway. In case you don't know, who doesn't know what Midway is? The Battle of Midway. Is everybody good on that? Okay.
It's halfway between here way and over there way.
Exactly. It was
They
one
make
of
a
the
lot of arcade games.
yeah, it was one of the aircraft carriers sunk at Midway. Unfortunately, most of the crew died, and the captain decided to go down with the ship. And the name is actually used by a current class of Japanese submarine, Soryu class. And the Shikanami was just a destroyer that was sunk by a U.S. submarine, the USS Growler, in 1944. Okay, one of the new characters, Mari Illustrious Nakanami, she has two ship names in her name. The Illustrious was a British aircraft carrier It was very badly damaged during World War II, but survived to later be cut up into razor blades.
True story.
And it's actually the only, its namesake, right now the Illustrious, is the only ship, the only aircraft carrier currently used by the British Navy. They have no other ships. They have one aircraft carrier left from one of the proudest navies in the world. Yeah, down to one aircraft carrier.
Budget cuts.
Yipper. And Makanami was a Japanese destroyer that was sunk by torpedoes and gunfire from U.S. ships. Its successor, which is the third successor, serves with the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force since 2004. The
Wow, that actually makes a complete lot of sense now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Oh, correlations.
The Katsuragi was a Japanese aircraft carrier built towards the end of the war. The problem was Japanese resources were so depleted at the end of World War II, it never carried any aircraft. And and it was damaged at the end of the war and was scrapped. Okay, the Akagi, again, was one of the fleet carriers at the Battle of Midway. It actually only took 2 bomb hits, but was badly damaged. It actually had the lowest loss of life among the Japanese aircraft carriers. The captain strapped himself to the ship and was prepared to go down with it. His senior commander boarded the ship and told him to get off. He is actually...
At sword point.
Yeah, he pretty much. The captain of the Akagi was the only Japanese fleet aircraft carrier captain to survive Midway. Even the admiral of the fleet went down with the ship.
He wanted
I'd like
to
to
go
point out
down,
the
he
only-
wasn't allowed.
I'd like to point out that the only way I can get off is at sword point too.
I see what you did there.